All right, we are live on YouTube. We have a nice group here in the room. We have a nice group here on Zoom. Welcome to whoever's watching us on YouTube Live. It's my pleasure to welcome you to Shabbat Services with Congregation Shalom. Boy, am I glad it's Shabbat. We get a little bit of a rest. It's been quite a week. Just busy, nothing, all good, just busy. So I'm glad to welcome Shabbat. We are going to begin our Shabbat worship this evening with Shalom Aleichem, which can be found on page 24 in your Siddur, page 24. Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem l'shalom, malachei hashalom, malachei elyon, mi melech malachei hamlachim, hakadosh baruch hu. Shalom aleichem, shalom aleichem, malachei hasharet, malachei elyon, mi melech malachei hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Baruch Hu ni l'shalom, malachei hashalom, malachei elyon, mi melech malachei hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom aleichem, shalom aleichem, malachei hasharet, malachei elyon, mi melech malachei hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Seitchem l'shalom, malachei hashalom, malachei elyon, mi melech malachei hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom aleichem, shalom aleichem, malachei hasharet, malachei elyon, mi melech malachei hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Who would like to light the Shabbat candles this evening? Any volunteers? Wonderful. Thank you. Candle lighting is found on pages 3 and 2, beginning with the reading on page 3 and the blessing on page 2.
So I'm on 2.
Start with choose a reading on page 3 and then the blessing on page 2. Either meaning, your choice.
Can't turn the page. Can you turn it?
Oh, either one of these two.
Okay. As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us, as their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light. So may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light. Okay. Oh, that's familiar. Yeah, okay. I was looking for it. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik al ner Shabbat.
Amen.
Okay.
Thank you, Sandra.
Thank you.
We continue on page 7. Where has this week vanished? Is it lost forever? Will I ever recover anything from it? The joy of life, the unexpected victory, the realized hope, the task accomplished? Will I ever be able to banish the memory of pain, the sting of defeat, the heaviness of boredom? On this day, let me keep for a while what must drift away. On this day, let me be free of the burdens that must return. On this day, Shabbat abide. Let's continue together. Help me to withdraw for a while from the flight of time. Contain the retreat of the hours and days from the grasp of frantic life. Let me learn to pause, if only for this day. Let me find peace on this day. Let me enter into a quiet world this day. On this day, Shabbat abide. We continue with L'chadodi on page 20, singing verses 1, 2, 5, and 9. When we reach verse 9, the last verse, we rise and we face the rear door to welcome the Sabbath bride. L'chadodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. L'chadodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. La 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 l'chadodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. L'chadodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur achad, Ishmiyanu el hameyuchad, Adonai echad, Shemo echad, L'shem u'tiferet v'litchila, la 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 l'chadodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. L'chadodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha, hi makor haberacha, merosh mikedem nesucha, shav ma'aseh b'machshavat tchila, la 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 Dodi, Likrat Kala, Pene Shabbat Nikabela, Lecha Dodi, Likrat Kala, Pene Shabbat Nikabela, Hitoriri, Kiva Kumiori, Uri Shadaberi, Kivoda Nayala, Hayeknigla, la Lecha Dodi, Likrat Kala, Pene Shabbat Nikabela, Lecha Dodi, Likrat Kala, Pene Shabbat Nikabela. Ovi v'shalom ateret kala, gam b'simcha u'v'tzola, toch emunei am segula, boi chala, la chadodi, likrat kala, pene shabbat nikabela, lecha dodi, likrat kala, pene shabbat nikabela, la lecha dodi, likrat kala, pene shabbat nikabela, lecha dodi, likrat kala, pene shabbat nikabela. Please be seated. In the words of Reb Nachman of Breslov, I want to pray to tell God everything I'm going through and ask for help, a Chassid explained to Reb Nachman. But when I'm finally alone and I try to pray, the words don't come. Then the Rebbe told him, even just calling out to God, Ribono Shel Olam, again and again is extremely beneficial. Once, when informed that someone was able to recite 1,000 pages of Talmud, Reb Nosson responded, yes, that is impressive. Yet there are those of the Rebbe's followers who can repeat the phrase Ribono Shel Olam 1,000 times. And that also is impressive. We continue with the Chatzi Kaddish on page 26. Yitkatav yikadash meraba be'amad yivrach rutev yamlich machutei b'chayechon uvyom echon uchayetecho beit Yisrael ba'agala uvizman kariv v'meru amen Yehi shmera b'mevarach le'alam u'yamei amaya Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitchoman v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shemei kudesha brichu le'olam v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata ta'amiran v'yama v'miru amen. We continue with the Baruch Hu, our call to worship, and if you're comfortably able, I invite you to please rise. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. on page 31. Let's read together at the top of the page. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars. Creator of the ride of time and light, you guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Baruch atah Adonai, Hama'ariv, Araviv. Page 32. Ahavat olam, Beit Yisrael, Amcha ahavta, Torah u'mitzvot, Hukim u'mishpatim, Tanu limadeta, Al ken Adonai Eloheinu b'shofbenu v'kumenu nasiach b'chukecha, v'nismach b'divrei Toratcha, mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed, ki hem chayenu, v'yorech yameinu, uvahem negei yomam v'layla, negei yomam v'layla, v'ahavatcha al tasir, mimenu le'olamim, Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev amo Yisrael, Ohev amo Yisrael. Page 34. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kivod, Shem Kivod, Malchuto, Leolam, Leolam Va'ed. Please be seated. We continue with Ve'ahavta on page 36. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol meodecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ela asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha Vishinantam levanecha, v'dibarta bam, v'shivtecha v'veitecha, uvlechtecha v'derech, uv'shochbecha uv'kumecha, uv'shartam leot ayadecha, v'hayu letotafot beinenecha, uv'tavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvish'arecha lema'an tizkiru v'asitem ekol mitzvotai v'tem kedoshim le'Elohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz בארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני Adonai Elohechem, Emet. We continue on page 41. Sing the song of men and women joined in understanding and respect, the song of God's miracles, an earth protected and cherished, a gift for our children and the generations to come, the song of a land once ravished by war, now quiet and content, her soldiers home to leave no more, the song of a world redeemed, the song of peace. Mi chamocha pa'elim Adonai, mi chamocha nehedar b'kodesh, nora tehilot o sefelet, nora tehilot o sefelet. Malchutecha ra'u v'necha bokei hayam lifnei Moshe Miriam zeli anu v'yameru Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed. ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל. Let's continue together on page 42. Grant, O God, that we lie down in peace and raise us up our guardian to life renewed. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Guide us with your good counsel. For your name's sake, be our help. Shield and shelter us beneath the shadow of your wings. Defend us against enemies, illness, war, famine, and sorrow. Distance us from wrongdoing. For you, God, watch over us and deliver us. For you, God, are gracious and merciful. Guard our going and coming to life and to peace evermore. Blessed are you, Adonai, guardian of Israel, whose shelter of peace is spread over us, over all your people Israel, and over Jerusalem. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom aleinu, v'al kol amo Yisrael, v'al Yerushalayim. We continue with V'shamru on page 44. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam, u'b'nei ritolam, b'nei uvein b'nei Yisrael oti le'olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa et Adonai et hashamayim v'et haaretz uvayom hashvi'i Shabbat Shabbat vayinaf Shabbat Shabbat vayinaf Shabbat Shabbat vayinaf Oti le'olam. Page 47. invites God's presence to suffuse our spirits, God's will to prevail in our lives. Prayer may not bring water to parched fields, nor mend a broken bridge, nor rebuild a ruined city, but prayer can water an arid soul, mend a broken heart, rebuild a weakened will. We continue on page 46, Tefillah, and continuing on the following pages. And if you're comfortably able, I invite you to please rise. Adonai, sifatai tiftach ufi agit tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'konei Hakol, V'zocher Chasdei Avot B'imahot, U'mevii Geula Livnei V'neihem, L'ma'an Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshiach Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham v'Ezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayeh hakol atah Rav lehoshia, Morid hatal, Mechakel chaim bechesed, Mechayeh hakol berachamim rabim, Somech noflim v'rofei cholim, Umatir asurim, Umekayem emunato, Lishenei afar, Michamocha ba'al gevurot, Umito melach, Melech memit umechayeh, Umatzmiach Yeshua. V'ne'eman atah le'achayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, mechayeh hakol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, u'kadoshim b'chol yom yahalucha selah. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el hakadosh. You are holy, your name is holy, and those who are holy praise you every day. Blessed are you, Adonai, the holy God. We are seated as we continue together on page 57. You are with us in our prayer, our love, and our doubt, in our longing to feel your presence and do your will. You are the still, clear voice within us. Therefore, O God, when doubt troubles us, when anxiety makes us tremble, when pain clouds the mind, we look inward for the answer to our prayers. There may we find you, and there find courage, insight, and endurance. And let our worship bring us closer to one another, that all Israel and all who seek you may find new strength for your service. Baruch atah Adonai, Shabbatcha levadecha b'yirah na'avod. On Saturday night and Sunday, we will celebrate the new moon, the month of Elul, which begins our preparation for the holiday season. I share with you this modern psalm written by Debbie Pearlman from her book, Flames to Heaven. Here at Elul's center, bright lover's moon cast shadows on our clouds of doubt, filling the air with sighs of longing, sighs of regretting, sighs of grief. We fill this half dark with swarming thoughts, itching uncertainties that we must soothe, with a letting go, an arms opening welcome to your presence in our days and nights. You fill the sky with your light, chasing away the dark terror of our souls, even as we long for you in Elul's center, even as we seek you in our heart's center. Croon us melodies of confidence, beloved one, tender melodies that pull us back to you. Let us rest against your strong love for us, finding the source of our searching. Continue on page 60 with Shalom Rab. Shalom Rab Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rab Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki ata melech adon lechol hashalom. Ki ata melech adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. B'tov be'einecha levarech et amcha Yisrael b'chol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Baruch atah Adonai, hamevarech et amo Yisrael b'shalom. We take a few moments for personal prayer, reflection, as Mike accompanies us on the piano. Oseh Shalom is on page 62. Oseh Shalom b'mromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu. Oseh Shalom b'mromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu. Oseh Shalom b'mromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, Shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Oseh shalom Yisrael, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol yoshvei tevel. As we are going to welcome the new month, turn to page 261. Yehi ratzon milfanecha Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei Avotenu ve'imotenu shetchadesh aleinu et hachodesh haba l'tova v'livracha. Our God and God of our ancestors, may the new month bring us goodness and blessing. May we have long life, peace and prosperity, a life exalted by love of Torah and reverence for the divine, a life in which the longings of our hearts are fulfilled for good. Rosh Chodesh Elul will begin, Yehiyeh B'Yom Rishon Haba. The new month of Elul will begin on Saturday night and Sunday. And we have a couple of birthdays this week. Come on up. Lacey, you're going to come on camera? I don't know. Lacey, are you coming on camera?
I'm sorry, my internet's being weird.
Oh, okay. Well,
There we go.
yay. All right.
Hi, Kim.
Let's see if I can spotlight you. Here we go. Oh, there we go. All right. Kim and Lacey, God of days and years, author of life, our times are in your hand. We thank you for the blessing of life and for all that enriches our lives. We gather today in special thankfulness to share in Lacey's and Kim's birthday joy. May they be blessed with health and happiness and with the strength to overcome sickness and sorrow. And may we have the privilege of coming together year after year after year to celebrate their birthdays together with family, loved ones, and this holy congregation. As together we say, Amen. And we join together in our special blessing that we say when we celebrate special times. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehachayanu v'kiyamanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of all, for giving us life, for sustaining us, and for enabling us to reach this moment. And we say, and happy birthday, and Yom Huledet Sameach. You have a very, very happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Kim.
Birthday, Lacey. Here we go. Our thoughts now turn to those in need of healing of mind, body, and spirit as we turn to page 253 in our prayer books. Page 253. We think of those in our community and those close to our community. Marcy Berman, Marty Boyle, Eileen Callahan, Carol Castro, Isaac Cohen, Sarah Cohen, Bruce Dalby, Carolyn Dowlin, Stuart Dowlin, Don Elmore, Steve Feynman, Bernice Fischel, Justin Folk, Matt Kiefer, Jana Lesser, Al Lopez, Wendy Mayer, Mike McNerney, Tom Moore, Marge Muldoon, Charles Patrick, Charlotte Renfro, John Robertson, Diana Samuels, Bruce Schlossberg, Barbara Schmidt, Shimshon ben Abraham V'Sarah, April Singer, Peter Storch, Cliff Van Cora, Emilio Vasquez, Susan Weber, Marcia Gorin-Wesser, Kay Williams. Are there others for whom we are praying for this Shabbat, for healing for this Shabbat? Wendy? Thank you. Anybody else? Thank you. Thank you. Anybody on Zoom?
Karen Meeks.
Thank you. Thank you. Anybody else? Yeah. Thank you. Whoever that ambulance is going for. For those who've been named and for those we name in our hearts, we say, Misha Berach Avotenu ve'imotenu Abraham Yitzchak v'Yaakov, Sarah Rivka Rachel v'Leah, hu yivarech et hacholim shelanu, Hakadosh Baruch Hu Yimalei Rachamim Alehem, Lahachalimam Ularapotam Ulahachazikam, v'yishlach lahem mehera refuah shlema min hashamayim, refuat hanefesh urefuat haguf, hashta be'agala v'zman kariv v'nomar amen. And we continue with the Misha Berach that we sing. Misha Berach Avotenu Mekor Habracha Imotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Misha Berach Imotenu Mekor Habracha Avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen. We turn back to page 245 for Seder Kriyat HaTorah, the service for the reading of Torah. I'm going to shuffle things around a little bit here. Make space for our very large Torah. Assemble the people, men, women, and children, and the strangers in your cities, to hear, to learn, to revere Adonai your God, to observe faithfully the words of this Torah, and let their children who do not yet know it hear, that they too may learn to revere Adonai your God. Please rise in honor of the Torah as we turn to page 246. Please be seated. I put this, here, I set this so that it would. There, we got it. Thank you. All right. So Moses is, of course, continuing his discourse. It's a very long discourse. His final speech to the children of Israel lasts almost the entire book of Deuteronomy. So we are going to, let's join together in the blessing before the reading of the Torah. Baruch hu et Adonai HaMevorach, Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah. So the children of Israel are still standing on the opposite side of the Jordan. They have not yet entered the land. Here, Moses is speaking. Re'eh anochi noten lifnechem hayom bracha v'kufala et habracha. Behold, or C. I put before you today blessing and curse. Et habracha asher tishma'u al mitzvot Adonai Elohechem asher anochi mitzaveh etchem hayom. Blessing if you observe all of the mitzvot, all of the commandments that Adonai your God, of Adonai your God, that I enjoin upon you today. V'haklala im lo tishma'u al mitzvot Adonai Elohechem, and curses if you do not observe the commandments of Adonai your God. V'sartem min haderech asher anochi mitzaveh etchem hayom. If you depart from the path that I enjoin upon you today. Lalechet acharei Elohim acherim asher lo yadatem. To follow after other gods that you do not know. V'haya ki yeviacha Adonai Elohecha el haaretz asher ata ba shama l'rishta. And you are to cross over to inherit inherit the land that Adonai your God has brought you here to inhabit. V'natata et ha-bracha al har Gerizim et hakala al har Ebal. And you shall, when you come into the land that Adonai your God has given you to inherit, you shall proclaim the blessing from Mount Gerizim and the curse from Mount Ebal. Hello, Hema, be'ever hayardain, acharei derech mevo hashemesh, be'eretz hakanaani, hayoshev ba'arava mul hagilgal, etzel elonim moreh. They are both on the other side of the Jordan, beyond the west, beyond the west, the road to the west, in the land of the Canaanites who live in the Arava, near the Gilgal by the terebinths of Moreh. Ki atem ovrim et hayardain lavo l'reshet et haaretz asher Adonai Elohechem noten lachem. Because you are about to cross over the Jordan to enter and to possess the land that Adonai your God is giving to you. Virishtem ota vishavtem ba. When you enter it and when you possess the land and settle into it. Ushmartem la'asot et kol hachukim v'et hamishpatim asher anochi noten lifnechem hayom. Be certain to observe and to do all of the laws and the rules that I am giving before you today. Join me in the lesson after the reading. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu haolam asher natan lanu et Torato let's start again. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu haolam asher natan lanu Torato. to the ground. That's a lesson to every bar about mitzvah child, even the rabbi makes mistakes sometimes. We rise in honor of the Torah. Yahalelu Shem Adonai, Ki Nizgav Shemo Levado. Let us praise the name of Adonai, for God's name alone is exalted. We're on page 256. At the bottom of the page, Eitz Chaim He. Eitz Chaim He. I got a step. You can see me this week. So I was in high school when I first read the Lord of the Rings trilogy by J.R.R. Tolkien. I loved it then, and I loved seeing the movies with my son when they came out, beginning 20 years ago, 20 some odd years ago. I was always intrigued with the idea of a ring that, when put on, would make a person invisible. The longer the person wore the ring would corrupt that person and make their life unbearable. In the H.G. Wells, The Invisible Man, you think I like sci-fi? I do. I like science fiction. The main character, Griffin, a tragic scientist, invents a serum for invisibility that he successfully tries on himself. Having no antidote, he begins after a while to think of himself as a god, exempt from all rules, free to steal and murder. His monstrous crimes detected, he is soon hunted down and killed. The Lord of the Rings and The Invisible Man were both supposedly loosely based on the Ring of Gyges in Plato's Republic, which poses the philosophical question: if there existed a ring that makes its wearer invisible, would its possessor use it to promote justice or for personal gain? Would its owner use it for good or for evil? There's no doubt. Some people would use the invisibility for good. We see that whenever we read or hear stories of long chains of people who each paid for the coffee or the meals of the people who came after them in the drive-through, or when people donate money for disaster relief in a part of the country or the world that doesn't affect them personally. We heard stories earlier during the pandemic of plate sales to raise money for people who were suffering or who died and needed money to bury their loved ones. Facebook is full of stories of people who did something kind or generous and never stuck around to be thanked or recognized. But then those stories are overshadowed by reports of teenagers who use their invisibility to bully and harass others online, or adults who carry out cowardly acts of hatred based on racism, anti-Semitism, phobia, xenophobia, and so on. The thin veil of anonymity given us by social media has emboldened so many people to lash out thoughtlessly and when someone shares an opinion that differs from our own. And it doesn't even take social media. People do it in public. Politics in particular has brought out the ugliest of this. Yes, invisibility is a double-edged sword. How would you use it? This week's Torah portion begins with an admonition to see, re'eh, and concludes with the commandment, yira'eh, you are to be seen, which obligates all males to appear at least 3 times a year in the sacred place chosen by God, Jerusalem. 2 weeks ago, we learned that hearing is the sense embodied in faith, illustrated by Shema Yisrael. But this week, the Torah stresses the visual, seeing and being seen, as the key to successfully building a holy nation. Re'eh is an introduction to the laws that will govern the Israelites in the land they are about to enter. Moses makes clear that we have a choice. He says, see, this day I set before you blessing and curse. Obey the laws and you will be blessed. Don't obey them and you will be cursed. Look upon Mount Gerizim, forested, fruitful, and watered, and you will see a blessing. Look upon Mount Ebal, and you will see a lean, arid, desolate wasteland. To this day, you can still actually see this unique natural geographical phenomenon from the town of Nablus, the site of biblical Shechem, sandwiched in a deep valley between these 2 mountains. The Torah's answer to our philosophical question is re'ayon, being visible, showing up. At least 3 times a year, everyone made pilgrimage to Jerusalem, bringing their first fruits, a tithe's worth of their produce to bring the Pesach sacrifice, to celebrate the other pilgrimage holidays. Since we no longer make our triannual trek to Jerusalem, in what other ways can we make ourselves visible to our community and to God? The rabbis of the Talmud note that the Hebrew grammar in the opening phrase of the Parsha, Re'eh anochi noten lifnechem hayom bracha uklala, is surprising. It begins with a singular and ends with a plural. They ask, what lesson is buried in that awkward formation? Rabbi Bradley Shavet Arts and writes, according to our sages, we learn from the singular re'eh, see, that the mitzvot are given to the entire people, to all Jews as a singular group. The basic premise upon which Judaism is built is not the personal preference of each individual Jew. Yet at the same time, the phrase ends with lifnechem, before you all, or before all y'all, a plural construct to remind us that each individual must decide for him or herself whether or not to commit heart, mind, and soul to cultivating our brit, our covenant with God. Rabbi Lawrence Hoffman shared another teaching in an article he wrote for the Jewish Week, in which he said, this week's opening verse reminds me of an old song titled, What a Difference a Day Makes. See, we read, I give you a blessing and a curse. For the Israelites, as for us, that day changed our lives. We learned to choose blessing as our lot. The verb in I give you ought to read in the past tense, I gave. The Torah already has been given after all. Moses is just recapitulating its contents here. But tradition insists that we read it as I give. This week's blessing is not about some historical fact that happened once and for all. It is about ongoing human existence. Apparently, we have an ever-present gift from God, an ever-present choice, perhaps, between blessing and curse. A midrash on our parsha tells of an angel who leads us about all day, protecting us from harmful demons, proclaiming, make way for God's image, to fulfill our human potential and become the image of an invisible God, to make the land a blessing rather than a curse for its inhabitants. We need to be visible, to be here and be responsible to and for each other. This Shabbat, I pray that when faced with the opportunity or challenge of being invisible, we each choose to use it for good and for justice, that we choose blessing. I pray that we actively seek out ways to be visible for our families, for our community, and for each other. Ken Yehi Ratzon. May this be God's will and ours. Shabbat Shalom. Adam is doing the announcements tonight.
So tonight I'm taking one for the team. It's okay to remask. Okay. So I'm going to be quick. Just a couple of things coming down. We've got Kesher Shalom registration that's open, and I think we're starting in the next 2 weeks, September 11th. So, and we're going to be here and we're going to be live. It's going to be cool. Yeah, Alex ready to go, just so you guys know. This Sunday at 1 o'clock, we have a congregation meeting and it's going to be on Zoom. If you guys haven't registered, please register. Let's see, High Holy Days. We need two things. One, register for parts, register to make sure that you're here, whether you're going to be here in person or over Zoom. And then two, we need donations. We are, I think, at 30% of goal, at least, a little bit more than that. And we need more of a response based, well, and we're going to go a little further into it at the congregation meeting. But I strongly urge everybody to come, participate, be a part of the community, and also donate. And do I need to add anything else, or are we good? Dave, do you have anything else to add?
Nothing from up here. I think you covered it.
Okay.
Look forward to seeing everybody on Sunday.
We shall be there,
Mhm.
or in the ether.
Mhm.
Well, Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
In my eagerness to get the email out before Shabbat, I did forget to attach the attachments. I will do that when I get home tonight and send out a follow-up email. Oh. We are going to continue with the concluding portion of our service, beginning with Aleinu L'Shabeach on page 283, page 283. I invite you, if you're comfortably able, to please rise. Aleinu L'Shabeach Lateit Gedula Liotzer Breshit Shehu Sam Chelkeinu Liached Et Shemo V'gor Aleinu Lehamlich Malchuto V'anachnu Koreim Umishtachavim Umodim Lifnei Melech Malchei Hamlachim Kadosh Baruch Hu Shehu Noteh Shamayim V'yosed Haaretz Umoshav Yikaro B'Shamayim Mima'al Ushchinatu Zo V'govhei Meromim Hu Eloheinu Ein Od Emet Malkeinu Efes Zulato Kakatuv B'Torato V'yadatayim V'hashevota El Levavecha Ki Adonai Hu Elohim B'Shamayim Mima'al V'al haaretz Mitachat Einod 287 V'ne'emar V'haya Adonai V'melech al kol haaretz Bayom hahu Yeh Adonai echad U'shemo echad. We think of our loved one on page 295, sorry, page 295. We think of our loved ones whom death has recently taken from us, those who died at the season in years past, and those whom we have drawn into our hearts with our own. This week, we remember for Shiva, Kenny Sugarman, friend of Maury Goldstein. For Shloshim, we remember the 30 days since the death. Zvika Pick, Robin Bradley, friend of mine. Teresa Tableda, friend of Wendy, and Stan Drezik. And for Yahrzeit, the anniversary of the death, we remember Isidore Sofer, father of Sandra Singer. Remember 10 people who perished in the Holocaust: Maria Kent Horowitz, Elka Epstein, Leon Ginsberg, Anna Golda, Max Klebanoff, Joseph Lerner, Abram Montag, Salomon Chazanoff, Henry Esterovich, and Philippe Goldenberg. Are there others who are observing Yahrzeit or remembering somebody for Kaddish? Thank you.
Eva Savage.
Zichronam livracha. May their memories be for blessing as we turn to the words of the Mourner's Kaddish on page 294. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shmei Rabbah, v'alma divrach yudute v'amlich malchute, v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chaye dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam v'lomei omaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitalev v'yithalal shemei kudsha brichu le'ela birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran b'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shlama Rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May the one who makes peace in the high places help us to make peace here on earth and send peace to all who are bereaved, as we say. Amen. Amen. As we enter Elul, we prepare ourselves with our closing song, Hashivenu. Let us return and renew our days as of old. Hashivenu, Hashivenu, Adonai Elecha, Ben Ashuva. Page 358, page 358. Shadish, Yaminu Kekedem. Hashivenu, Hashivenu, Adonai Elecha, V'nashuva, V'nashuva, Chadish, Chadish, Yameinu Kekedem. I will get better about remembering to announce all the pages. I'm still getting used to it. Who's going to lead us in Kiddush tonight? Ah, Maury. Excellent.
Got the juice.
Oh.
And you have to learn how to fill up the Kiddush cup. There ain't no juice in the cup. Fill them in. There it is. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu b'shabbat kodsho b'yahava u'bratzon inchilanu zikaron l'maaseh v'reishit ki hu yom tefillah l'mikra'ei kodesh zecher l'yat Mitzrayim Yotanu Kidashka Mikol Halim B'Shabbat Kadshecha V'Yahava U'Ratzon Inchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat. Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz, v'te'avon.